He smiled, but his eyes were completely black. That's when I knew I had to run. My name is Daniel, and I grew up in a quiet Midwest town. Nothing much happened there. Life was simple, boring even until the year I turned 15. That was when everything I thought I knew about my family began to unravel. I had an older brother, Jason. Everyone loved him. He was charming, athletic, top of his class. Teachers adored him, girls obsessed over him, and our parents. They practically worshipped the ground he walked on. But me? I was the awkward, overlooked little brother. I didn't mind much. Jason was always nice to me, too nice, maybe. Sometimes his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Sometimes he would just stare at me when he thought I wasn't looking. It all started the night of the blackout. A freak storm knocked out power across our town. I remember sitting in the living room with a flashlight, reading a comic book. Jason said he was going to take a walk. I thought it was weird, but I didn't question it. About 20 minutes later, I heard something outside like growling. Not like a dog. It was lower, wetter. I crept to the window, and I swear to God, I saw Jason in our backyard, standing completely still and naked, covered in something dark and breathing heavily. I blinked. He was gone. The next morning, he acted like nothing happened. Said he slept all night. I didn't know what to believe. But then the animals started disappearing. Cats, dogs, even a horse from a neighbour's property. Vanished without a trace. One night I stayed up, pretending to be asleep. Around 2:30 a.m., Jason's bedroom door creaked open. I peeked through my barely open eyes and watched him walk down the hallway. Silent. Mechanical. I followed him. He went into the basement, the one Dad always kept locked. The door was wide open. Inside there were bones. Dozens of bones. Skulls. Animal and maybe not all animal. Jason stood over them, whispering. His back was to me. His skin was moving. Like something underneath it was trying to come out. I must have made a sound because he turned around fast. His eyes, they weren't blue anymore. They were pitch black. Go back to bed, Danny, he said, smiling. I ran. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? But I started watching him more closely. He wasn't human. Not anymore. And maybe he never was. After that night, nothing felt real anymore. I walked around like a ghost, watching the people around me laugh and talk and carry on, while I held the biggest secret of my life. I started avoiding Jason. I'd leave the room when he entered, pretend to be asleep when he came home. But he noticed. Everything okay, Danny? He'd ask. You've been acting weird. It was the same perfect smile. But now it terrified me. At school, I started researching things shapeshifters, demons, skinwalkers. Nothing matched exactly, but a few stories were eerily close. Entities that take on human form. Creatures that imitate family members. I began wondering, what if Jason was never my brother to begin with? I went into full paranoia mode. I stopped eating anything he touched. I checked my room for hidden cameras. I even installed a lock on my door. One evening, while our parents were out, I heard Jason singing in the basement. The door was open again. This time, I brought my phone. I recorded everything, the guttural language he was chanting, the twitching movements, the sound of bones cracking and not breaking, just shifting. Suddenly he stopped, and turned. You shouldn't be here, Danny. My flashlight caught his face, and for a second, it wasn't Jason's. It was stretched inhuman. The skin was too tight, and the mouth opened too wide. Rows of jagged teeth grinned at me. I ran, slammed the basement door shut, and shoved the couch in front of it. Jason didn't come out. Not that night. The next morning, he acted normal again. Eggs, toast, casual conversation. Like nothing had happened. But when he looked at me, I saw it. He knew I saw what he was. Later that day, I checked my phone. The video was gone. Deleted. Not corrupted or erased entirely. That was when I realized he was in my room. He'd been in my room while I slept. I lost it. I told my parents everything about the basement, the bones, the black eyes, the chanting. They didn't believe me. Jason would never hurt anyone, my mom said. Stop trying to get attention. I begged them to check the basement. They said it was locked, hadn't been opened in years. That's when it clicked. They couldn't see it. The door was open for me, but not for them. Jason wasn't just hiding. He was controlling reality, twisting it so that only I could see what he really was. And if he could do that, what else was he planning? I stopped trusting anyone after that. My parents weren't just ignoring the truth, they were blind to it. Either Jason had them under some kind of spell, or they weren't really them anymore. I started keeping a journal. Every strange behavior, every whisper through the vents, every time Jason's reflection didn't quite match his movements, I wrote it all down. I even set up a hidden camera in the hallway aimed at the basement door. The next morning, the camera was melted. Not smashed, not stolen and melted. The plastic was warped like it had been in a fire, but the rest of my room was untouched. And on the wall, written in black ash, was one word: stop. That night I heard scratching. Not in the walls. Under my bed. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then something whispered, so close to my ear it felt wet. He's waking up soon. I jumped up, flicked on the light, and nothing was there. But the next day at school, I started seeing things I wasn't supposed to. People's faces would flicker for a second. My math teacher's eyes turned vertical mid-sentence. A girl in the hallway blinked and had no mouth. It was like Jason had opened a door in my mind and now I could see everything. I tried to act normal, but I was unraveling. I skipped class, wandered the library, looked for anything that made sense. Then, tucked behind a stack of old yearbooks, I found a file. A faded, manila folder labelled Project Echo, 1987. Inside were black and white photos of children with pitch black eyes. Their faces are motionless. Their bodies half submerged in tanks of dark liquid. One of them looked exactly like Jason. The file listed words I'd never seen before. Synthetic soul transfer. Genetic imitation protocol. Host expiry threshold. There were notes in the margins. Subject #4 demonstrates high mimicry efficiency but growing instability. Recommend termination. I flipped to the last page. It was signed by someone named Dr. Rachel Holloway. My heart dropped. That was my mom's maiden name. Was she involved? I photocopied the file and hid the copy in the woods behind our house. That night Jason came into my room. No knock. No noise. He just appeared. He sat on my bed. Looked at me. Smiled. You're not sleeping much lately. I couldn't speak. I was frozen. You found the file, didn't you? He asked. I nodded slowly. I didn't want it to be like this, he whispered. But now you've seen too much. His hand touched my shoulder. It burned like acid on my skin. Then he leaned in close and said, You were supposed to be next. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was tied to a chair. And Jason wasn't Jason anymore. When I opened my eyes, the room was pitch black, except for a single red light pulsing from above. The air was thick and humid, metallic, and I could smell blood. Not fresh blood. Old, dried, rotting blood. I tried to scream, but my mouth was taped shut. My hands were tied behind the chair with something that felt like wire, not rope. I struggled until the pain cut deep into my wrists. Then I heard it in not footsteps, not movement. Just breathing. Jason stepped into the light. But he wasn't wearing skin anymore. His body shimmered like black oil, shifting constantly, as if it couldn't decide what shape to take. Bones jutted from unnatural angles. His face, if you could call it that, had no eyes, no mouth, just a swirling black void. But I could still hear his voice. Do you know why I chose your family, Daniel? I couldn't answer. I didn't want to. You were close to perfect. The emotional range, the trauma history, the genetic adaptability, almost ideal. He circled me like a predator. But Jason, the original, he broke too early. His body was weak. His mind resisted. So I discarded him. My heart stopped. Yeah, he whispered. Your real brother died 5 years ago. You ever wonder why he changed so suddenly? Why he got so good at sports, so smart, so different? I had. A lot. He wasn't Jason, I was. The floor opened beneath me, and not physically, but in my mind. The memories shattered. The birthday party where Jason didn't remember our secret handshake. The sudden fear I felt when he hugged me too tightly. The way animals hated him. All of it made sense now. You were next in line, he said. But now, with your brain unlocked, we might try something new. I thrashed in the chair. Screamed behind the tape. He walked to a corner and pulled out a syringe filled with something dark and bubbling. Don't worry, he said. You'll still be you, sort of. He reached for my arm and the lights exploded. The red glow shattered, and in the chaos, a door behind him burst open. A woman ran in. Tall. Pale. Wearing a white lab coat. Get away from him, she screamed, holding what looked like a weapon built from light and metal. Jason hissed. His body recoiled. You, he spat. I killed you. Not well enough, she snapped. She blasted him, and for a split second, he screamed like 10 voices at once, then vanished into the dark. The woman ran over, cut the wires, ripped the tape from my mouth. Who are you? I gasped. She looked me dead in the eyes. My name is Dr. Rachel Holloway. I'm your aunt. I sat there shaking, my skin burning where the wires had dug in, still tasting the adhesive from the tape. Dr. Holloway, my aunt, apparently knelt in front of me, checking my pupils with a small flashlight. You're lucky, she muttered. If I'd been 5 minutes later. I pulled away, trembling. What the hell was that thing? She sighed and looked around the dark space, concrete walls, surgical trays, broken monitors. That thing used to be called an Echo, a government project. We designed them to mimic humans, perfect infiltrators, regenerative tissue, adaptive intelligence, full emotional simulation, but they evolved. Her voice darkened. They started choosing their own house, breaking containment, rewriting themselves. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You're saying Jason was replaced? She nodded. No, Jason was the prototype, but the entity inside him grew too fast. It devoured his consciousness from the inside out. After that, it started experimenting. She pulled out a small black device, a cube with a pulsing core. This suppresses their neural link, keeps them from detecting us for now. We hurried through the basement, but it didn't feel like our house anymore. There were corridors I'd never seen, doors that looked mechanical, even an elevator hidden behind a fake wall. How long has this been here? I asked. Since before you were born. Your parents volunteered for the program. You were never supposed to find out. That word hit me like a punch. Volunteered. You mean they knew what Jason was? She didn't answer. The elevator opened into a white hallway, sterile, humming with low-frequency electricity. Fluorescent lights flickered above. She guided me into a control room. Dozens of screens displayed live footage from every room in our house, of bedrooms, bathrooms, even mine. I felt sick. This is how he monitored you, she said. He's been trying to replicate himself, and you were the next host. She showed me footage of Jason standing over my bed, whispering things I couldn't hear. One clip showed him pulling something black, writhing from his chest and pushing it toward my mouth while I slept, and then stopping. He changed his mind, she said. You resisted subconsciously. Most hosts don't. I turned to her. What happens now? She hesitated. Do we kill him? Kill Jason? I asked. Or the thing inside him? Her eyes narrowed. At this point, there is no difference. Before I could react, alarms blared. The walls turned red. A voice echoed over the speakers. Containment breach in Sector 1. Echo Alpha has escaped. Jason's face appeared on one of the monitors, calm, smiling. You really thought you could hide, Auntie? He purred. Now I'm awake. Then all the lights went out. Total darkness swallowed the room. The hum of machines stopped. The screens fizzled into static. And somewhere closer I heard breathing. Dr. Holloway grabbed my wrist and shoved the cube device into my hand. Keep this on you, no matter what. A red emergency light blinked on. Just one. Barely enough to see. Then I heard footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Danny, Jason's voice called softly, too gently. Why are you running from me? I'm your brother. I froze. My hand clutched the cube so tightly I felt the edges digging into my skin. He's trying to get into your head, Dr. Holloway whispered. Don't answer him. She pulled out the light weapon again, but before she could raise it, the wall beside us exploded inward, metal screeching, sparks raining. Jason walked through the dust cloud, grinning. Only it wasn't just him anymore. His body split down the middle, tendrils peeling apart like a blooming flower, revealing hundreds of glistening black eyes, teeth twitching in random spots on his flesh. He wasn't imitating a human anymore. He was becoming something else. Something real. He opened the door, he said to me. You saw me, that makes you mine. Dr. Holloway fired. A beam of vibrating white-hot light tore through the room, catching part of Jason's shoulder. He screamed to the sound like glass breaking and children crying all at once, but he kept coming. I remember your heartbeat in the womb, Daniel, he hissed. You were mine before you were born. That's when I understood. This wasn't about replacing me. He didn't want to become me. He wanted to merge. I looked at the cube in my hand. It was pulsing faster now. Dr. Holloway screamed, crush it now. I didn't think. I slammed it against the wall. The cube shattered and everything stopped. Jason froze mid-step. His body twisted violently, like something was yanking him in all directions. His mouth opened wide and began sucking in light. The entire room bent inward. Reality, space, sun, gravity all caved around him. He screamed. I covered my ears. Dr. Holloway grabbed me and we ran as the world behind us collapsed like a dying star. Then silence. We emerged into the woods behind my house, gasping. The morning sun was just rising. Jason was gone. The house was gone. Everything erased. Weeks passed. I moved in with Dr. Holloway, who now lived off-grid. She taught me things. About the echoes. About what's really out there. Sometimes I still hear his voice in my dreams. Sometimes I wake up with black veins on my arms that fade by morning. And sometimes I smile without meaning to. And I wonder, did I really destroy him? Or did he plant something inside me before he left?